how do you keep that going when the initial challenge, because as you started, you were maybe it's a struggle to kind of adopt the new mindset, do the like let your beard grow, follow the exact rules of the Bible when the social norm said to do X, Y, Z. How do you build up the consistency? How did you have a framework of approaching these challenges, like research it and then just fully immersion, or do you gradually build your way into it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I have a bunch of strategies that I use to try to be more consistent. And I'll tell you them in case they are helpful. Uh, one of them is miniature goals. So I do this all the time. Like with the treadmill, sometimes I just don't feel like going on it, but I say to myself, well, you know what? I'm just going to put on my sneakers. I'm not going to promise myself I'm going to get on the treadmill, but I'm just going to put on my sneakers. And then once you do that, you have a little bit of momentum. And then you like say to yourself, well, I'll just get on the treadmill for like 1 minute. And if I don't like it, I'll just get off. But once you're on there, you have a little momentum. So mini goals, I think, are crucial in anything in work. When writing, I'm like, I'm just going to write 5 sentences. I promise myself before I take a break, 5 sentences. And often I'll have gotten 5 sentences down and I'll have a little momentum and I'll keep writing. So that's a big one. Um, another another trick I use is it's about thinking about your future self. This is a strategy I picked up from a Yale professor who talks about how we all have our two selves. We've got the present self that wants to sit on the couch and eat Cheetos, and then the future self, which wants that present self to behave in a responsible way, so the future self is still, able to exist. So the more you can think about, treat your future self like a friend, like you would a friend. Treat him with respect. And uh, I even printed out. There are studies that show if you take one of those aging software and put your face on it and print it out. Just like looking at your future self can be motivating, a little creepy, perhaps, but and not everyone needs that, like the visual, but I actually like having a picture of my future self. And when I'm trying to make a decision, I'm like, you know what? I should treat that guy with a little respect and try to make sure that he's around. I want him to be around to see my kids get married or whatever. So those are
Uh,
two strategies for consistency.
That's brilliant because it's a really good way of looking at it. Is because when we're young, or like even up to 30, 40, 50, we never really think about our mortality, do we? We
Mm,
always look at ourselves as indestructible, that we've always got time, that we could always do X, we could always get the girl, we could always win the fight,
mm.
that we're always going to be the guy that can jump like over houses and cars and run run faster than Usain Bolt and all that. We never really like to think that we're going to break down and we're going to become old. And it's was it Memento Mori? It's like remember that you're going to die, and it's there's that thing. I don't know if you ever done it, where I think it's 80 birthdays they reckon you have,
Mm,
and you work out on a grid. The um, like each grid square is a week of your life,
mm.
and then you shade them out as you go along, and it's terrifying when you see how much of your life's been used up.
Wow, that's
I'll see.
interesting.
I'll see if I can find it and add a link to the show notes, because it really is a scary reminder that I know not every day is a given, but when you think the average person, 75 to 80 years, and it goes in the blink of an eye.
Right. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Memento Mori. And in fact, I have a little on my laptop desktop screen, I have a little picture of a skull, and not a scary skull because I didn't want to be. So I found like a fun psychedelic colorful skull, just to remind myself that my time is limited, and I think you've got to balance it, because you want to remember we're only here for a short time. Uh, but you don't want it to blend into YOLO, where you just do whatever you feel like, regardless of how it affects other people. But I think some sense of realizing how our time is limited. Don't get annoyed about someone cutting you off in the bank line. Don't get try to savoring. I think is a very important idea. Savor every moment you can. So I am overall, I wrote about Memento Mori in several of my books, including I loved this when Roman generals would come back from a victorious campaign, they would be given a parade, but they always had a servant who would stand next to them on the chariot, whispering to them that they were mortal, so that they remembered to have some humility. So I always love that idea.